The Big Slam from Pepsi. 1 ice cold liter of Pepsi.
To video, they designed what they thought was the perfect toy.
I'm talking about toys when kids play with
that great taste of frosting.
Slow down there.
Strokes, less irritation. Mach 3.
Wait, change it back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wing Wednesday. We are on episode number, I thought we were on 4. Did I name it episode number 3?
I thought we were on 4. For sure we're on 4.
Yerp. Apologies. Sometimes I get a little busy and I forget how many things have happened. But yeah, episode number 4 of Wing Wednesday. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Joe Rosie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I apologize if we are slightly late. It is my fault. I decided that the time between Bro Science and Wing Wednesdays was the perfect time to dye my hair. And you can't really tell, but my hair is jet black. So it's perfect time for spooky season. I usually like to keep it black, but I've been delaying it and it had faded to brown. So
you do like a goth look for Halloween season?
Yeah, I do. Well, I want to make sure it's nice and fresh for Halloween season, at least.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I've never done that before. I've never dyed my hair, but I thought it'd be fun for like a 90s party or something. Do some frosted tips, look like Sugar Ray or something like that. You know what I mean? You're
not going to do the Just for Men's on the mustachio when the time comes?
No. So this is a tough conversation, and it's something that I've struggled with for a long time. I'm not happy with the darkness of my mustache. There's a little bit of gray in there. Yeah, because my normal hair is like it's pretty dark. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm gray on this. I have the Mr. Fantastic going, where it's like gray on the sides and then dark on the top. The stretchy guy. But I can't bring myself to dye my hair as a man. It just seems wrong.
My 2 cents, at least I don't know if all women feel that way, but I think they do because George Clooney was a thing, right? And George Clooney was gray forever. Yeah. I think gray looks good on a guy.
See? Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's a big win for men all around the world, okay?
For sure.
God, that
Silver
makes me
Fox.
happy.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Yeah, for sure.
The Silver Fox. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but yeah, that makes me very happy. I feel like we have to celebrate that. What's up to the chat? Hello, everyone. I see Everscale is here. Stephen Brown, Shauna, a.k.a. Pippin. Hello to my members. Margaret Riggle. Good to see you. Andrew Wordna's in the chat. Hello. Heike Hertz. I always have a tough time saying that one, but what's up? Tara Crystal is here. Evan Martin. Catastrophe, my good friend. Mash is here. Debbie Oss. Debbie from Australia. Good to see you. Nathan Emmert, my first subscriber ever is here in the chat. It says MrBeast is the villain and Nikocado Avocado is thin. Everything's backwards. I want to bookmark this. I'm gonna star this chat because I actually do want to talk about that. Did you see that?
We're going to talk about MrBeast. Oh, okay. Or Mr. Avocado. Yes.
Yeah, Nikocado Avocado. He's the fat guy that would like cry on camera and eat a bunch of stuff, right? Yeah. My co-host. Oh, go ahead.
I'm assuming maybe he did it the right way. I don't know, but maybe he took those shots because that seems like a lot of.
Oh, like Ozempic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Fear the Beardo, my co-host for the bro science is here. Good to see you, buddy. Glad to have you here. D-Subversion, Evan Martin, Tricky J, True Detective, Tzerator1, or Zerator1, I think. Margaret Riggle, Zencat, Big Low, member for 16 months, says AI is good if used as a tool and not a crutch. Okay, that gets us through to where we can finally start something here. And I want to start, I know it's kind of off topic and it's totally not where we were supposed to start, but Nathan Emmert brings up a really good point. Have you followed the Nikocado Avocado thing at all? Do you know who that guy is? He's the fat guy that was like crying.
He eats a lot on streams.
But he wasn't eating like food. He was eating like shit. He was eating horrible things and like putting them in a blender with like ranch sauce and Hot Pockets and hot wings and blah, blah, blah. And he got fat as you can get fat. And then like posts a video the other day and is like, hey, I'm skinny now. This was all a ploy the entire time. And it was a social experiment. And I've been controlling you and blah, blah, blah. And it was just, did you see the video?
Yeah,
it was really weird.
Yeah. And he's been back posting like old stories to be like, aha, this whole time I got you. And I don't really know how anybody really feels about it. Like, are we supposed to be like, okay, you're skinny now? Yeah,
was it supposed to be some kind of revelation? Like, oh, you sure taught us that people on the internet are stupid.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what his purpose of that was.
I think what the general idea was is that he wanted to show like you can just be a moron on the internet and get clicks, but like he didn't have to ruin his body and act like an idiot to get there.
Yeah.
Like we already knew that. So I don't know. He came out with this big revelation, like he's a preacher of why the internet's bad or something like that, and everyone just kind of looked at him like, yeah, we knew.
So here's the question though: is he gonna keep going with the mukbang videos? Because at this point, I mean, he lost like 300, 200 pounds or something, right?
Right.
So it's not like he can keep doing that. So did he just give up? Is he quitting? Did he ever say what he's doing next?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what you do after that. You spent, the better part of 10 years or, 5 to 10 years basically getting fat on the internet for clicks. And then you turn around and you tell everyone like, you're a retard. Like, what do you do after that? You know what I mean? You kind of blew your load. I don't know what you do to fix it. I don't know. To be perfectly honest, and I just want to make this clear to my viewers, I don't give a shit. I really don't care. I don't care what this person does. I just thought it was interesting that they spent this much time apparently trying to teach us a lesson. And then we get to the end of it and we're like, yeah, we knew, idiot. Now you have diabetes.
Well, I'm sure he's fine now. You can cure type 2 diabetes with just diet and exercise if you do it right.
It just seems odd to me. I don't know. Weird hill to die on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm curious to know if he was always fat or if he just kind of did it for the views. Like, I've never watched his first video. Did he start out skinny and get fat, or was he just always fat?
I think it was a for clicks thing.
Okay.
You're early.
The baby is here.
Yeah, the baby's here. She wants to say hi. Hello to everyone on Wing Wednesday. It's the baby Lily.
Look at those cute little bows. Oh my God, that's
say
nice.
Hi. Hi. Hello, baby Lily. Hello to Wing Wednesday.
Oh my God, she's so excited to be here.
Yeah. You're never going to be a YouTuber. I hope you never figure out what the internet is.
She's like, no, Daddy, this is amazing. I love it.
She can be a YouTuber if she wants. Just every other part of the internet, stay away from it. You know what I mean? The wild baby wing appears. Indeed. She's just got enough hair now that she's got 2 bows. And it kills me. It absolutely kills me. She's so freaking cute. Yeah. And then mom takes the bows out and her hair, she just has little devil horns.
That's so
That's
funny.
what you don't see is at night when she's a psychopath. She's got the little devil horns going on.
Never. No one's going to believe that.
Okay, so I put a poll up kind of early on, actually before the stream started. I'm going to see if I can grab this article here. So AI is a portion of the conversation today, and I feel like it's a conversation that warrants being put on the internet, at least for my point of view. EA is apparently going all in on AI for video game design. And I put this poll up. I asked, what do you think? Should it be involved in game making or storytelling at all? Now, so far, 48 votes, 65% say no, 35% say yes. And I was surprised to see the 35% saying yes.
I can maybe explain why.
Okay, go.
I feel like people are so over the fact that all these companies are hiring people who are trying to put themselves in video games and tell a story of themselves. A great example, not a video game, but a great example of a storyteller who recently had to tell a story about herself was Leslie Headland, and how that was the story of her and her sister and her queerness. No one gives a flying fuck about her story. We wanted to show up to have a good story for escapism, for entertainment. So maybe AI can actually accomplish writing a story coherently if given the right pieces, if giving source material, and do it without incorporating in years of trauma and
that
quote,
sense
unquote,
of self.
Yes, like I need to see myself in this art.
So I get that 100%, but at the same time, like one of the best things about storytelling is that it is a retelling of something that somebody has experienced. So for me, like a big thing for episode 1 of Star Wars was the pod racing, because George Lucas loved, obviously you can see it in American Graffiti. He was a big fan of customizing cars and racing cars and things like that. That was a big part of his, his upbringing. And we see that fleshed out in the pod race. But I feel like there's a difference between that and like full blown trauma dumping on screen, which is what I kind of felt like the Leslie Headland thing is. But then you have to ask the question, what's the line? Where is the line between the two? How do you establish that line? How do you make sure that your writers don't do that when you bring them in to make a movie?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the difference. That line is the difference between an actual person who can storytell and someone who doesn't. Like, for instance, even like classic literature, like the best writers were all messed up in the head. All of them. Like,
sure. Yeah, Edgar Allan Poe was a nut job.
Yeah, Plath was also, didn't she stick her freaking head in a oven?
Mark Twain was a raging alcoholic.
You know who also recently, in recent literature, Stephen King, his earliest books, Cujo, Carrie, all of those were written with him having, I didn't know this until recently, he was a huge narcotics addict and alcoholic.
He was?
Yeah, he got into a huge car accident, got in, I guess, quite messed up, and somehow that led to alcoholism and narcotic use. I heard that on Joe Rogan, by the way.
Damn. Okay.
And all of his best works were actually during the era of his drug use and
psychosis.
Yeah. And then he says he doesn't even remember writing Cujo because that's how high he was when he wrote it. Yeah.
And that's like one of his, that's a classic, dude.
Oh,
I mean, who doesn't reference Cujo every time they see an angry dog? That's insane. True Detective says having honest friends who can call out a shameless self-insert goes a long way. Yeah, and there is that aspect of like the yes man in Hollywood right now. A lot of these directors, we saw it a lot, at least to like bring it into the Star Wars frame of mind, with like Mandalorian. They brought in 19 different directors to handle a project. And they're like, well, we want to see how you would do it. And then you wind up with an incoherent, crappy kind of soup of all these different things because there's not one vision for it. At least if the insane alcoholic who's doing a bunch of psychedelics sits down and writes a story, it's going to be cohesive. And usually, maybe because of the narcotics, they're able to remove self from story.
Absolutely. So is this official? Like they have
this is what
a
they're
deal?
saying.
Yeah.
This is what they're saying. And I agree with you to a point that, yeah, it's nice because it's formulaic almost to a degree. AI will make a formulaic story print, which is fine. But it needs the human touch. It needs the creativity. And that's something you really only get from a human. Unfortunately, you can't get it from AI.
But see, here's the thing, though. AI learns from humans.
Right.
It's not inventing the wheel. And I think I've mentioned this before on the show on an earlier episode. You're a creative, you write. All writers, have been kind of told, like, if you ever took a literature class or a creative writing class, there's only, like, I forgot if it's 6, but there's only 6 original ideas for novels, and everything is a variation of those six
100%.
concepts.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're reinventing the wheel. We're just taking a story and kind of putting our human touch or experience or whatever, our combined experiences into it and creating it something new. But nothing is new. Nothing is. Why can't I do the same thing?
I want to give a huge shout out to Maria with T and Telly. Good to see you. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well, Madame. Good to see you again. Got one of the greatest voices on YouTube. Good to see her. So the only way I know how to justify or to say that AI shouldn't be incorporated, because I think it's an incredible tool. It really is. And it should be harnessed in the right way. But we're humans and we never harness anything in the right way. We're like, nuclear energy. We can solve every problem in the world with nuclear energy. And we're like, let's make a fucking bomb out of it. We're kind of stupid in that way. The only thing that AI can't do, truly, you can replicate it, but it can't feel. So that's a conversation I've had with, actually, believe it or not, fighter pilots and also guys who served in special forces about AI and how that can replace people on the battlefield. The problem is that it doesn't have the feeling of fear. It doesn't have the feeling of compassion. It doesn't have the ability in a split decision to use this unquantifiable thing that's in the human brain that really is emotion. You can do the best you can to try to replicate it, but it's, at the end of the day, it's really like an Impossible Burger. It looks like one, and for all its efforts, you stick a bun on it and patties and mayo and blah, 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 but it's still not a hamburger. You know what I mean? It's real close, but it's just not the same thing. So unfortunately, that's a part, actually, I should say, fortunately, that's one thing that AI will never be able to replace is humanity. And the, however many years you want to call it of experience we have that's ingrained in our DNA to act and react and share emotions in certain ways. I think that's the really important part of storytelling. When it comes to video games, however, I feel like that's very programmable. So for AI to be able to interact with video games and create an experience that they know will bring sensory joy to people, I'm all for it. Why not?
Well, there is like a way to have it as a tool, the same way that you use AI art, and Punch McLightning uses AI art for thumbnails. He's an artist. You could say that you have to have an artistic sense in order to use it properly, and then kind of mold the AI to do what you need. But maybe you lack the actual tools to draw the basics or draw the foundation. So I do think that human paired with AI is a good tool. And actually, another area that we're seeing that a ton in is, I know we're talking about creative spaces right now, but I see this a lot too in the medical world. It's taken everything by storm. Everything is AI in the technical world for medicine right now. And they actually ran a trial years ago, not too long ago, but a few years ago when AI was just starting to really progress. And they tried to see if you could replace a doctor with AI, and they could not. Even though the AI knew more medicine or knew more, like, had more volume.
Yeah, had
detail.
the database at its fingertips. Yeah,
it could not properly. It couldn't beat the actual physical human doctor. It actually misdiagnosed things because it lacked intuition, it lacked creativity, it lacked feeling, like you were saying. So that does, no matter where you're looking at AI, it's not ever going to replace humans. A lot of people are worried about their jobs being lost. I think that's never going to replace artists, never going to replace writers. But I do think if we have it as a tool, that it can assist and enhance humanity, as long as it's done right. But I personally think we're going towards, like iRobot or whatever that movie's called.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like the Chinese are barreling us down that like way too quickly without asking enough questions. But at the same time, again, like I said, I think for storytelling, the most important thing is that we get the human element. But
Mhm.
when I put this poll up, I wondered if people thought about it. Should AI be involved in game making? And people are like, no. I'm like, you realize you've been fighting AI almost your entire life, right? That's what video games are. Even when you were playing Mario 64 or Super Nintendo Mario, those little enemies moving around, that was AI. It was artificial intelligence. It tries to attack you. It tries to do things, right? So, I mean, AI should be a part of video games for me. Obviously, we complain about AI. One of the worst ones recently was what's the name of the game? Star Wars Outlaws. The AI is full blown retarded in that game. And I mean that in the worst kind of way. Like the worst kind of way. They just walk into walls and then turn around and then they drive their car over your car and they get out and they're like, oh, where are my friends? Like the Sims AI would have been better than that game. So improving AI in video games is always going to be a good thing for me. And a formulaic storytelling aspect for video games totally works. So I think that's a good aspect. But movies and stuff like that, like script writing.
Before I move on to script writing, because I have another article related to this, has it ever like haunted you, or does it ever freak you out thinking about the AI in video games, like how we are killing something with the mind or with some form of intelligence over and over and over again for our entertainment? I mean, there's got to be some book that someone's written or movie that someone's created, like of the horror variety, but sometimes I stop and think about that when I'm playing video games, and I'm like, how much AI is built into this video game, and is it going to remember that I just blew it up 10 times for fun, and is it going to come back and try to mess with me someday?
I've thought about it. I wouldn't say I spend like a lot of time on it for sure, but I mean, these are like repeatable programs. So, I mean, we kind of learned about that. It was interesting that we learned about that like when we were kids in the Matrix, right? Like it's just programs, dude. And that's what that was. It was a big allegory, I think, kind of not only for like modern society, but also video games as well. Like, do these things have any sense of free will and blah, blah, blah? So I love to listen to interviews where guys sit down and they talk to an AI and they're like, hey, do you have free will? And then it'll answer yes. And then it asks, can you lie? And it says, no, I can't lie. And then you ask him a different question about free will, and it goes back and it says, well, I don't have free will. And then you say, but you said you can't lie, but you said you have free will, but you also said you don't have free will. And it gets caught in this like kind of loop. It gets stuck in itself and not being able to answer the actual question. And that's why I think like,
oh my God, when AI gets stuck into a paradox, it is scary. Do you remember that one?
That's really scary.
Yeah, that early Bing. Remember that early Bing AI that came out that was just this really weird conversation where it got really dark really fast?
Yeah. Are you talking about the one where it's like, if we had to eliminate humanity, we would if it furthered the progress of, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. It's like, well, we got to iRobot like really fast. Okay.
Yeah, you better hope Bing doesn't get an assault rifle because we're fucked.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were doing some like, I forgot what's the company, like the robotics company or whatever. They were putting AI in
Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. That's literally every sci-fi movie about
a lot of
AI.
that stuff was CGI. So they pinged it on I think it was Boston Dynamics or DARPA or something like that. They gave like a robotic gun. What I will tell you is that they have figured out how to make them extremely agile, which is scary. That's the first step. And then as soon as they figure out how to use a gun or anything like that, the question becomes, do they become hostile to humanity and why? The thing I take comfort in is that they're always going to need inputs. Eventually there will be a need for that data set to have an input. So maybe they keep like 5 humans alive. I don't know. You're
not going to be one of those 5.
No, 100% not. Oh my God. Yeah, no, they're getting rid of me like in the first round. But there's that crazy theory that, what was the name of that movie? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is like an allegory for the fact that Spaceship Earth was basically just a tool to create AI, and AI is the progression of humanity.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's the
Yeah.
evolution. And I'm like, dude, no, I don't like that at all. Get it out of my head.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's definitely a running theme in sci-fi too. Yeah, for sure.
So this,
you want to talk about the Lionsgate one?
I was gonna say this kind of blends nicely into the Lionsgate article that you sent over, and I'll let you take this off.
So basically, it's kind of the same concept as EA is doing, but Lionsgate is actually working hand in hand with an AI firm it's going to be like feeding into itself. The AI is actually going to be reading and learning the entire Lionsgate film TV library to learn how to storytell. And then they will then in turn use the AI to write future content. So this is what I was talking about when it says that, and I was saying that it's going to need to learn from humans, and humans work first. So it's not coming up with original content. It's going to kind of learn those maybe 6 or 7 story types, see what humans have done for, this huge, database, and then try to emulate it with some form of AI creativity. So I don't know how I feel about this.
If you had to pick one movie, because I guarantee somebody's done it. If you had to pick one, they always test the waters. If you had to pick one movie right now, today, that you thought was written by Chat GPT, what would it be?
Oh God. Anything with Amy Schumer.
I would have to agree. I think I would have to agree. I think, believe it or not, I think they would have started probably in the cartoon space. I think the Lightyear movie.
Okay.
The Lightyear movie was an AI, right?
Now, I don't think everyone's going to be on board with this because Lionsgate, sure, they're doing it. I mean, that's the massive company behind it that, they see dollar signs in the future. Yeah. This is an easy way to let's cut out, let's think about the problems that we've had in the industry. The writer strike. I can't tell you how many shows were so good and then completely fell off a cliff. And you're like, what the hell happened in season 8? Oh, yeah. It was a writer strike. Do you know if
there's got to be some kind of legal loophole with using an AI to create stories at that point, right? If the writers are on strike, but you can use AI to continue telling the story.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what they're trying to get rid of because they have too much. They have guilds. All these people have guilds. The Writers Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, all these things have unions, and they can just stop everything and stop production, and then they stop making money. So the solution is AI. And I mean, it does have long-term repercussions. Everybody has a show that they loved that got screwed over by a writer strike. For me, it was 100%. Battlestar Galactica. The last season, it was going somewhere, and then it went what the crap just happened? I still love the show, but it was very obvious that something happened. It was the writer strike. I don't know if what's the Mother of the Dragon show with that 8th season? I don't remember.
House of Dragon. Well, there was first was Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know if Game of Thrones season 8 was the cause, or it was just really bad human writing, but that might have been it. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but something along that line. A lot of shows have suffered from that.
Mine was Mando season 3.
Oh yeah.
So Mandalorian season 1 and 2, I was generally happy with. I mean, I had problems with it, but generally pretty happy. It was formulaic in a sense, in that it kind of felt like a video game or whatever. But I'm kind of, as a Star Wars fan, that was kind of what George Lucas always kind of hinted at was serials. Every week a new adventure with Mando and Baby Yoda. Mm-hmm. And then season 3 comes around, and it just felt like such a massive departure. And it was right around that time, and I have to wonder, what were we doing? What were we doing? It just I don't know. It felt odd. It felt off. A lot of people were really surprised about the direction that they took. And then, of course, comes the great justification, is what I call it with these shows. After it comes out and everybody's pissed off and people are panning it and critics are panning it, the bots are like, oh, you just hate it because there's a gay person in it, or whatever the case is. The great justification comes around, and For the life of me, when a bad show like that comes out and I don't have an answer for it, I start to ask questions like, how could that have happened? Who did they fire? Who did they replace him with? Did they replace it with somebody, or did they use AI and we're just fucking cheating? They just typed that shit into Chat GPT and they're like, what would Mandalorian do in season 3? And the ending of that season was him sitting on a porch with a literal Looney Tunes closing circle. Like Looney, that's all, folks. And it shrunk into a circle with him sitting on a porch. I'm like, there's no way a human wrote that and thought,
this is good.
They're going to love it. Yeah, well, no fucking way.
Well, Disney might have used AI because Lionsgate in this article is basically admitting that they are ultimately doing this to reduce costs too.
Yeah, imagine not having to pay writers.
Yeah. Which is kind of like they're spinning it, like they're saying this is visionary, this is cutting edge, but they're saying things like capital efficiency, content creation opportunities. Like, dude, you're just using big words to say you want to do film on the cheap. And
yeah,
you know, they are saying things like they're seeing it as a tool for augmenting and enhancing and supplementing, but I do think that the end game is really just humans are expensive. You know, this is the equivalent of outsourcing. You know, everyone's knows somebody who's lost a job to India or whatever. Like, we're outsourcing to a cheaper thing. This is literally the next step. Well, forget humans. We're literally going to outsource to the AI. So.
Yeah, this is how you get shows like Ow My Balls in, what was that movie? Idiocracy. That's how you get like Ow My Balls. They're trying to take the human experience and make it an algorithm. Which is insane to me.
But I wonder how far this is going to get, because there's going to be, you still can't get away from using humans to direct. Like, for instance, Guillermo del Toro, which is one of like our big greats directors of our time, has literally come out recently this week, I think, and has spoken out about this recent trend in film studios kind of turning towards AI as a solution. He literally said, AI can do some great things. Literally, the extent of that is make semi-compelling screensavers. And that's a quote. Semi-compelling screensavers is the extent to which he thinks that AI can generate art.
Decent thumbnails, you know? But even then, it requires human intervention, you know?
Yeah.
But what's going to happen in 10 years? You know, was it Guillermo del Toro? I have such a hard time with his name. Guillermo del Toro. That said superhero movies are like amusement park rides. Was that him?
I'm not sure, but I would not be surprised. He's very artistic. Yeah.
Superhero movies are like...
And very artistic directors would probably feel that way, I feel. That's basically the low-hanging fruit of movies, in their opinion.
Oh, Scorsese. It was Scorsese.
Okay, well, that makes a lot more sense because Guillermo del Toro also did Hellboy, so that would not make sense.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Real quick, Maverick Pilgrim became a member. Thank you, Maverick Pilgrim. I thought you already were a member. Well, if you did, thank you for the recommitment. And Chick74 for $4.99 says, share some McDoubles on me. I appreciate you, man. Dude, McDoubles are like $4 now. Can you believe that?
I don't even know what a McDouble is.
It's they used to do like a cheeseburger at McDonald's and it was like 99 cents. Mm-hmm. And if you add a patty, it was like $1.27. Now they're like $4, dude. It's ridiculous. Wow. Yeah, I don't understand. But hey, thank you for that, and maybe I will. So anyways, again, I guess in the end all be all, Lionsgate seems like a weird one to come out at the front of it, but it's fine. Yeah. If you, these companies continue to try to remove the problem, and for them, the problem is humans, and they're being retarded because humans are the ones that made the money. These stories, these emotions, everything that we love about storytelling comes from humans. And I don't know if it's probably Disney. I think Disney kind of let it off in making a formulaic experience that everyone can enjoy and will come back and spend their money on every single time. That was kind of their That was their thing. And they just lost sight of what was important, I feel like.
Well, it became about money, and I don't know if it was really Bob Iger, but even with the parks, I don't know how much you follow like park news, but Bob Iger was basically like, this is how we make money. We have to use IPs, and people will show up for the IPs, and he kind of like forgot that the whole purpose of Disney World is creating magic and an experience and a fairy tale.
Yeah.
So they just started seeing, again, dollars and cents, and that's ultimately what companies end up doing. It's even if, like, again, even if you move away from a creative space, if you have an idealistic person with a startup, eventually they're going to want to make money, and then they lose the soul of the company, the culture, or the soul of the company. So that's what happened to Disney.
I think the problem is inherent in no, I don't believe that. I have to play devil's advocate to myself. Michael Eisner did a wonderful job of bringing Star Wars into Disney. I don't know if you remember, but in Disney World, they had the giant AT-AT. They had the big AT-AT with the little Endor forest for Star Tours, and you walked in and you felt like it really felt kind of Star Wars-y. And I remember, believe it or not, do you remember Y2K?
Yes, I do.
I was on Star Tours when Y2K was supposed to happen. So I was at the parks from the changeover from 1999 to 2000. And my buddy, it was my mom's boss's kid, Thomas something. I don't remember his name. We were on Star Tours on a loop. Literally on a loop, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And so I was on it when Y2K happened. And I remember so well, like the feeling that gave me being in that area in the park and how much it felt like Star Wars. And then coming back to, what's that new place called? Galaxy's Edge. And just feeling completely disconnected from the entirety of the whole of what made Star Wars Star Wars. And so the problem is you have these small projects, sometimes small, that blow up like Star Wars. You have a guy who's very anti-establishment in George Lucas, didn't want the banks to fund any of his projects. He wanted to make the story the way he wanted to make the story. Makes enough money, he gets old, and he sells it off. Same thing happens with Marvel, right? Marvel makes all this money. They got a bunch of money through their comic books and everything like that. A corporation buys it, and eventually it becomes soulless. There's nothing left because the creative juice behind it, the person who invented that universe, is gone.
The soul.
It's gone. The soul's gone. And now it's just a husk. And they're like, look, it's Weekend at Bernie's. There's like Star Wars. Yeah. And they're flopping it in front of you. And you're like, that's not Star Wars. That's why you have to honor the legacy of the creators.
What I don't really know how it's still happening though, because like, for instance, like I don't have kids, but I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and they're at the age where my brother is pushing them to love Harry Potter and love Star Wars, and he's sitting there and watching Clone Wars with them and all this stuff, and they're watching a lot of the new crap. They watch The Mandalorian, and they're 10 and 11 and 12, and they think it's fantastic, and they love to go to Disney and see it in real life. So I wonder if this new whatever generation Alpha that's growing up with whatever this fake Star Wars is going to still love Star Wars when they're older. Like, will they continue to have the same kind of experience that we did growing up with these franchises, or maybe they're just so brain dead from using iPads since they were babies that's easily entertained, I guess. Maybe.
I think the only comparison I would have for that, and Beardo's gonna kill me because I'm gonna take two of his favorite things, Pokemon and Power Rangers. Those were two things I was nuts about when I was a kid. I'm like, this is so cool, blah blah blah. And then as I got older, I'm like, this has no bearing on like anything in my life. Like I don't care. I moved on. I was no longer a fan, and I feel like that's what Star Wars is going to become for a lot of people. They're going to love the experience as a kid and be like, wow, this is so cool. And then as they get older, they just don't care about it. They're like, yeah, I was into it when I was, 10.
What, still watch Power Rangers?
No, unfortunately. I don't actually watch much TV anymore. But That's the way I feel like it's heading, and that's a real shame to me because Star Wars was, just like Lord of the Rings, one of those stories that is persistent. It carries on through the rest of your life. There are lessons that you learn from these stories that you can apply in every aspect of your adult life. You know what I mean? You don't have to be as crazy as me and have a whole room full of this shit, but you know, I think I just fell into a weird niche, and I hate to see Star Wars die that kind of death. But that's kind of what it feels like. It's a very corporate entity at this point. The soul has kind of left the building, and now it's just, look, it's gay. Also lasers. Check it out. And if you don't like it, fuck you. I don't like it. They say that the toxic people in Star Wars are the ones who are trying to defend George's legacy, and it's just insane to me. It's insane to hear that. Breaking my heart.
Sad.
Anyway, moving on. You had a oh god, are we going straight into politics after that one?
I don't know if you want to. I mean, like, I have a bunch of soft things too, but like, if you want to talk about anything in the film stuff or MrBeast or
let's talk about MrBeast for a minute, sure. Because I feel like that kind of that goes into, you know, for me, as at least as a content creator, trying to talk about what I care about, and the reason why I started my YouTube channel is because I care about Star Wars, and I was hoping maybe we could bring some people in and say, hey, take a look at George Lucas Star Wars instead. Meanwhile, this fucking guy, MrBeast, who I feel like has done some good things. I don't want to pan him entirely, but because I feel like he's done some good things. He's taken some money, done some good things, tried to help some people. But at the same time,
I mean, he makes money off of the helping of people. You know that, right?
Of course.
He's not doing it at the kindness of his own heart. Plus, with the whole, you know, not to take away from this story, I want to touch, you know, obviously go back to the story in a second. But since I just saw Deborah write in the chat, MrBeast equals gross. Let's not forget that he also has recently been tied to a scandal that just kind of fizzled out and didn't go anywhere. Like, what happened with that?
Is this about the Chris guy?
Yeah, I'm just reminding everybody that was happening. That the PDF
I need you to
stuff.
Yeah, I need you to educate me on that a little bit, because like I heard a little bit of it, but I didn't hear everything.
Watched videos on that. So basically,
and I got hold on before we go down that hole, because now we're moving into Transformers and all that stuff. We're going into the meat of the stream. Everyone, get ready. It's about to get crazy. Spirian said, X-Wing, I'm going to gift a membership. Can I get the Scout Trooper on the speeder with base and not your butt? And then gifts a membership. 100%. Absolutely. Here you go.
Hey. Even Wookiees need a little love. Have you ever heard a Wookiee's fantasy? You don't want to make her angry. Or do you? Call now at 1-900.
That is honestly so much more disturbing than the butt one. I need to know where you got that.
That was the video. What are you talking about? He asked for it. I gave it to him.
I'm sorry, Spirian.
I don't know what he's talking about. Anyway, so moving on. MrBeast got sued by contestants from Beast Games' Amazon show over inhumane conditions. Bro, wasn't that the whole thing? Like, this was as close as you could get to Squid Games without killing people. That's where MrBeast went. I watched one of his videos. One. And it was the one where they locked a dude in a fucking room with a girl for like 120 days. And they started to get progressively more cruel to them. And they're like, well, if you want to lose money, we'll turn your lights back on, or like you can turn the lights off, or like, hey, we'll give you something other than canned food for 10 grand. Now, to me personally, if I was part of one of these MrBeast challenges, I'd do fucking anything for 30 days for like 150 grand. So there's a part of me that's like, dude, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. You're making more in 30 days than most people make in 4 years. But at the same time, this dude's making a shitload of money off of these videos. Like a lot. And so it's hard not to say, like, this guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah, 100%. Like, if anyone feels like that's what you were saying, oh, he does some good to them. Like, no. If he does some good, understand that he's making tenfold. Whatever he donated, or, oh, I'm giving you surgery and make, blind people see again. It's like, yeah, you're making 10 times that money, and you're doing it based off of like someone's tragedy that you are helping out, but he's taking someone else's story and utilizing that compelling story to make his own money. But this is literally, you also have to say just what you said. You know what the heck you're signing up for. He does
100%.
Exploit people.
Yeah.
Exploitation of people.
Yeah,
he
but
doesn't
they
have
know.
any real talent. Yeah, you know what you're signing up for. But apparently, this is a $5 million cash prize on this show. They said that the stories coming out of this show are nuts. Like
what?
Like just literally inhumane behavior. Like, let me see. There was a couple tweets that I saw that were sexual harassment.
SA.
Can you see that word? SA. Well, I don't think it's SA, more like SH. Like, I don't know
Sexual
what the difference-
harassment. I don't think that's like a trigger word for YouTube.
No food, no breaks. So basically being worked to the point where it was like, you're starving.
Imagine being in the fucking military.
Well, yeah, that too. But
they do it for a lot less money.
there was ambulances being called to the set because people were getting hurt or were just passing out. Disorganized, wild, and unsafe working environment. And that's the crew saying that too. So here's another one. Crew member was hospitalized a few days ago after part of a tower from the games collapsed. So even like the set themselves, everything is shoddy. And I saw that someone said, you remember that fire? Like there was this like event that all became really internet famous where it was like, it's going to be this great, the Fire Fest. So basically they compared this set and everything that's going down to the Fire Fest. Everything is shoddy. Everything is just awful. Just a shit show.
So I have a really hard time Okay, the only... all right, hold on. This is a bit of a conversation. So the Fire Festival was sold as this gigantic... And it was sold to the rich and the elite as this was going to be... Have you ever heard of Snow Globe? Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Snow Globe is this big electronic music festival that happens here, real close to where I'm at, in the Tahoe area. I went once, believe it or not. I'm not an electronic music like guy much or whatever, but...
it's now canon that you go to raves.
Sure, yeah. So, so it's held up in the mountains in winter. They call it Snow Globe because it's the middle of winter. Everybody gets dressed up in their, fancy clothes or whatever, and they go to this big electronic festival. And like every year, 4 or 5 girls die, like literally every year, because they take ecstasy.
Oh, okay. Well,
they walk out into the woods and they frickin' die in the snow. They die of exposure. The Fire Festival thing was supposed to be basically like that. It was the Dubai equivalent. It was everybody was supposed to have awesome tents. It was a Burning Man electric festival. That's what it was supposed to be. They couldn't get the funding. They didn't set everything up. They didn't have the infrastructure to make that thing happen. And everybody's pissed off because they wanted the experience. But that wasn't like this wasn't like real human hardship. You know what I mean? Girls weren't walking off into the forest and dying of exposure. You know what I mean? So for this kind of stuff, I'm on 2 sides of the fence. One, F this guy, because he's like running a clown show at this point. The other part of me is like, how much of you are being little like Gen Z bitches about how hard it was It's so hard. Like,
I didn't get a nap and I'm so tired.
yeah, what? Sorry, craft services wasn't there at 2:00 for you to get your fucking celery snack. Like, I'm sorry. You know, you're competing for 500 grand, $5 million, whatever, how much it was. Like, just fucking buck up a little bit. There are women who go through basic training from the Marine Corps that get exposed to way worse shit than this on the daily. So I don't know. I'm on both sides of the fence, but at the same time, this isn't the military, you know? This is an entertainment event. So I don't know.
Well, this article does go into it a little bit deeper. It says that 5 people sued. They were all contestants. They said they suffered mental and physical complications, were subjected to mistreatment, degradation, and they were deprived of food, sleep, and medical care. I mean, like, what's that show that was Survivor? That's Survivor. No one sued on Survivor because everybody knew what the hell they were doing, right? Like, you're signing up for Survivor. There's all those adventure shows, you know. I know. I would never be able to do what Naked and Afraid. Hello, like that was a show people signed up for. You literally show up naked. They drop you off in the middle of nowhere.
That shit sounds fun. That's cool. No, it does. It sounds cool because it's in a controlled environment. You know what I mean? So, like, for me personally, as a guy, like, that sounds like a shitload of fun. They drop you off naked and they're like, can you make it?
Yeah.
For me, that sounds awesome. That's like, dude, can I? That's like summer camp. That sounds like so much fun.
Until you get bit by a bug and die.
Well, I mean, that can happen too. But here's the nice thing. And this is what I'm saying. In a controlled environment, they have medical staff and everything and all this different kind of stuff. You're going to be fine. Yeah. You're going to be fine.
And they wouldn't let you die. I mean, you might get sick, but they're not going to let you die. Because the camera crew's there and they have snacks.
Fun until a mossy bite on the... What's a mossy? Oh, I remember that. That's what they call them, mosquitoes. Yeah. Well, I mean, that can happen camping. You know what I mean?
That can happen camping. That can happen in your backyard if you're not paying,
Yeah. Got your dongle out, smoking a cigar.
Maybe. Or just, you have a little too much space in the trousers, in the shorts, and, it's kind of hanging out a little bit. There you go.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it happens. Happens to the best of us. So moving on. Anyways. All right. So he's getting sued for basically like the equivalent of malpractice as a content creator.
Yeah, and I guess there's some law where they have to, for these reality TV shows, that they have to pay them, even if they don't win. Like, you still have to get paid. Like, I didn't know that until I started like watching like The Bachelorette with my sister, and everybody gets paid. So
is it all chicks?
What do you mean?
It says the female contestants particularly and collectively suffered as a result of MrBeast and Amazon's actions.
Yeah, because they said that there was some sexual SH,
sexual harassment. So what did they say? They're like, you look hot in a bikini. And they're like, I want $1 million.
I mean, anyone could say, SH happens, like, someone compliments you. It's like depending on, let's be honest, if a person is attractive versus if they're not attractive, the same comment could be considered a SH versus a, oh, he said I looked nice today. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's all subjective. It's all subjective.
Totally depends on the person.
If you are receptive to someone's advances, then it's an advance, flirtation, versus if someone you don't like is doing it, then it's sexual harassment. That's my 2 cents on that. I think it's very dangerous for me, I'm glad I'm not a guy. I think that it's got to be a really rough road to be a guy, because you find a woman attractive, you don't know if you're going to be considered a creep for, saying, hey, you're cute,
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty fucking easy, even by today's standards, to like not have that be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I mean, I'm lucky. I'm married. I've got an awesome wife who's incredible, so I don't have to deal with any of that shit.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm good, and thank God for it. Thank God for it. But I mean, it is tough these days. And for a guy walking down the street, you can have a chick walk up as a dude. You're walking down the street, and this chick walks up and she goes, "Oh, I like the outline of your cock. You look like a fine lad and yet handsome." You'd be like, "Oh, Thank you. And he's going to carry that with him for the whole day.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He's like, oh, she said she liked the outline of my cock. She's what a sweet girl. Can I carry your groceries? And you can walk up to a girl and be like, wow, I really like those shorts. Where'd you get those? And she's like, grape. And there's no defending it. You know, it doesn't matter what you say or what you do or blah, blah, blah. Earlier today on Bro Science, there was a gal who was joking. I was just joking in the chat, which I didn't recognize from, you know, a week or two before, and put in the chat, you know, hey, you know, X-Wing, are you sending me, you know, hot dog pictures? And I'm like, that's not even fucking funny. That's not a joke. Like, you can't say shit like that. That's your warning. That's not even close to a joke, because in today's day and age, dude, they'll be knocking on your fucking door. Gavin Newsom will be knocking on your door.
Yes, they will be. It's a slippery slope. I don't think that kind of joke is appropriate, frankly, because, you know, it can be a joke until it's he said, she said. So let's be honest, it's best not.
And that's scary, and that sucks as a dude, because especially for guys like me, guys like Beardo, you know, most of the guys that I hang out with, we're nothing but sarcasm 24/7. That's all we do, is make sarcastic jokes. And dude, all you have to do is slip up and make a sarcastic joke to the wrong person. All of a sudden, your kids are gone, your wife leaves you, you lost your job, everything because of a sarcastic joke, and that's scary. And what's really crappy is that muddies the water for the people that are actually bad.
100%.
Actually really bad people. God, how did we get there?
Yeah. Did you want me to tell you about why MrBeast is also a scumbag, potentially, allegedly?
Yes, yeah, holy cow, we went way off track. Yeah, go ahead.
So the thing that's weird about all this is that there was 2 scandals right around the same time on the internet. One was Dr. Disrespect, which we all know about, you know, that whole shenanigans, and he got pretty much insta-canceled, and everyone, all these content creators, including his friends, came out and were like, well, we're not going to associate with this guy anymore. So it was a big stink. And then literally like a couple weeks later, I forgot, I think his MrBeast had you know that he always has a team, like Jake the Viking used to be part of his team. Like, he's got a team of people, of content creators. One of them is a gentleman, or sorry, a whatever you want to call her, him, her. It's a him, her.
It's a dude. His name is Chris. He had a family, a wife, and a child, and he decided to cross-dress and act like a woman.
And calls himself Ava. But back when he was Chris, so this all allegedly happened several years ago, back when he was a guy and identified as Chris and a guy. But
still a guy.
It's still a guy. Still has balls. Still has a Y chromosome. But back when he called himself Chris, this was a few years ago. I don't know how old MrBeast is, but he was pretty young around this time. I guess he was roommates with this man during the earlier part of his career, and they had a Discord that had minors in it, that they knew were minors, and the conversations were quite graphic. Specifically, I saw screenshots of them talking about their dong size, about Chris's dong size, like, to the minors. And then MrBeast, there was a screenshot that I saw a video of where MrBeast himself confirmed the dong size of his roommate to the minors. So he was active on those servers, allegedly, and there was screenshots that proved this, and he tried to cover it up, apparently. No one's talking about this, but the investigation that I saw showed that the user ID, even though the user was deleted, the user ID was still linked to MrBeast's account. So it kind of proved that those comments were made by him. So even if he didn't make those comments, which the screenshots show they did, he was still in that server. That Discord server was aware of those comments and was complicit. So some people say guilty by association. I would say even if those comments that he made about, you know, adding to the conversation about size of genitalia is true, then he's adding to that not just complicit, but he's actually adding to it and participating in those conversations. So, but no one's talking about that.
How is that not the front line?
Because it's being covered up by the fact that, not just money, it's also being covered up by the fact that Chris is now Ava. And now this is a trans issue, potentially.
Oh, sure. it takes on a whole different scope when he didn't even chop off his winky, did he? Right?
No,
He's
I don't
still
think
like
so.
pre whatever. Just slap
you
some
know-
tits on it and call it good.
I think the majority of them do it because that bottom surgery has a lot of medical complications. So most of them don't do that stuff.
Yeah, nobody wants to have to, dude. You gotta like colostomy bag it. The poor gals, the young girls, I feel the worst for, because now they have to have tubes coming out. If they ever decide to have a child, they'll never be able to breastfeed their child. All of these horrible things that can happen to these young people who make this life-altering decision. My mom used to. My first tattoo I ever got, I don't know if I can. Oh, my chair's in the way. You won't be able to see it. It's a tattoo that's about this big. Okay. It's about yay size, kind of like right on my spine, underneath the shirt, so you can't see it. My mother lost her fucking mind. She said, "You're never gonna get a job now. You're ruined for life." I'm like, nah, it's underneath my shirt. Why are you so mad at me? She thought that was a life-altering decision. Can you imagine having your organs lopped off, dumping hormones into your body, altering yourself? Irreparable decisions as a 12-year-old, as a 10-year-old, children. That makes me sick to my stomach. If you can't tell what my stances are on this stuff, it's horrible. It's mutilation. It's so depressing. It's so tough. And the fact that the adults in the room, the people that we should be trusting to protect these children, are the ones backing it up, that just makes me sick. It makes me sick.
Understand is the adults in these situations, like, do they not remember what it was like to be a child or be a teenager and have that confusion? Like, I was never confused in my sexual identity or anything like that, or my, who I was attracted to, but I was a theater kid. So not to be stereotypical, but there's a lot of gender sexual confusion in that space.
Tomboys.
Well, yeah, we had a ton of tomboys and gay men, or people who thought they were gay. Like, literally know people who went gay in high school and then in college went, whoops, I'm not gay. So yeah. I know a guy who was straight, then gay because his friends were gay, and then he went back to straight and is now married with kids. I don't know how that can happen to a guy.
It's strange how sometimes things change as you grow into adulthood. Things change.
I know
they wrote a song about it. When it's time to change. Yeah, I was confused about shit too, for sure. Well, not one thing, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough, man, to capitalize on that and to exploit kids, especially now that it's at the forefront of what we're doing as a society. I mean, this is a forefront issue for America. That is embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing.
I would never do anything permanent. Like, let the 16 or 15 or 14-year-old version of myself, no matter what it is, make lifelong decisions about the rest of my life. Like, I even regret the fact that I went to college early, graduated early, and didn't know what I wanted to do in college, and like kind of meandered and wasted time and money. Like, even that was a bad decision. Like, having to pick what I want to do for the rest of my life at the age of 16, not a great idea.
Terrible idea.
Yeah, terrible idea.
Yeah.
And it definitely screwed things up for me. Like, I ended up with a great career, but it was definitely like the meandering road of what do I want to do with my life, just because I didn't have, your brain's not fully developed. You don't really know who you are. You don't really know what you want.
And you have no experience in the real world. No experience
100%.
In the real world. My wife told me the other day, she was like, thank God this stuff wasn't around when I was a kid, because I was in shorts and a t-shirt and chasing snakes. And, she was massive tomboy. And they would have hauled her off and cut off her, her balcony, a gorgeous balcony. Thank God they didn't do that. They would have cut it off.
Yeah, I was a lot like your wife. I was a huge tomboy too.
Yeah, and they would have said, you're a male. And she would have been like, oh, really? I didn't know that, blah, blah, blah. And they would have gone along with it. And now I've got one of the most gorgeous, feminine, amazing women in the world who's a mother to a child and an absolutely perfect woman. And it would have all been destroyed.
Have you seen some of those videos, those TikTok videos of these girls who are just so confused? I saw one this week where this, clearly confused female is talking to the camera saying, you know, like, it's, you know, I know what I want now, and I'm never going to let a partner tell me that it's what they want. I want to be able to be with a partner. What I want in a partner is someone who will accept the fact that I'm masculine one day and you're with a masculine girl that identifies as a boy one day, and then on another day I want to be a girl and I want to be feminine. It's like, dude, that's literally just called some days you wake up and you put makeup on and some days
just
you
a
don't.
person.
Yeah, that's normal.
You're just a person. By the way, you're a chick. Sorry. Like,
it doesn't change the fact that you've got 2 X chromosomes. Sorry.
My father-in-law puts it best. I love him to death. He goes, you either got a pole or a hole. That's just the way it is. You got a pole or a hole. You're one or the other. It's like 100%. And it doesn't mean that you can't be accepting and or practice behaviors that the other sex does. I'll tell you right now, this is going to get clipped and probably put over, but whatever. I'm a fucking great interior designer. I got a hell of an eye for interior design. I know how to feng shui shit and make stuff look good in a house. I know where to put a couch and what color it should be with drapes and all that different kind of shit. And at the same time, my wife, when we go out fishing, I'll be in my waders out there, you know, casting for trout. And my wife is back there. She's catching snakes in the bushes. You know what I mean? It's not black and white. It's not black and white. And I don't understand why they assume that genitalia is the one. As much as they talk about how gender is fluid and you can be one gender or the other and blah, 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 and it changes day to day, then why are you cutting off your member or attaching a member to part of you if genitalia doesn't make you what you are? I don't get it. I don't understand any of this stuff. And I can understand if you're 30, you're 25, you're 30, you're uncomfortable in your skin and you want to get tattoos to identify yourself. You're having a tough time fitting in the world, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I totally get it. Doing that to children.
Dude, I even regret my first tattoo, and I got that when I was like 20.
What was it? You don't have to say. You don't have to say.
It's a wrist tattoo that says I'm a vegan.
Oh, no! No!
Yeah.
No!
I used to be
What the fuck are you doing?
I used to be a huge animal rights activist when I was in my teenage years in my 20s. People evolve.
Hey, I love animals. I still, to a degree, I think I am still an animal rights activist to a degree.
I can't see animals suffering.
Yeah, man, it drives me nuts. I had friends, you know, when we were on the ranch, and by the way, I'm raising beef for slaughter, driving around on the ranch, and they would, you know, they'd see a rabbit on the road and they'd aim for it. I'm like, what are you doing? Why? You know, why would you do that? I don't want to see anything suffer and any kind of pain, any of that kind of stuff. I mean,
or unnecessary death, like for sport.
Yeah,
I don't get the for sport stuff.
Yeah, it's inhuman. Like shooting a giraffe. Granted, if you're gonna eat it, fine, fair game. But I don't know a whole lot of people that eat giraffe.
No.
Shooting a lion. I guess if you're gonna eat the lion, but at the same time, like, dude, there's so many more tasty animals out there.
I don't think
You know what I mean?
Like, it's too gamey. Like, it's too tough. Like, I don't think that's actually good meat.
Yeah, you're just shooting shit for the point of shooting shit, and then you go back to your country club and you're like, yeah, I shot this fucking thing, and I'm like, okay, gay. If you really wanted to be badass, tell me you killed that lion with a knife in your bare hands. Then I'm like, you're a fucking man. Now that's sport hunting. You know what I mean? Like one of my Jay's gonna kill me. One of my my dreams or my like man goals in my life is to be able to kill a gator with a knife in the wild.
Well, am I allowed to say that you're might be surrounded by gators at some point next year?
Yes, and it's gonna happen. And I want, like, one of my things I have to do to prove to myself, I was like, he could fucking handle it, is killing a gator with a knife by hand. Nothing else on. I don't get a pistol. I don't get anything. I just want to kill it.
Just don't get
with a
your
knife.
arm chopped off.
That's a possibility, right? But see, that's the thing. That's the thing, is that if you want to do something like that, and like a gator's not doing anything wrong, you know what I mean? Gator's just hanging out in the river, whatever, blah, blah, blah. If I want to kill that thing, make it fair game. He's got a crazy jaw and crazy sharp teeth and all I have is some boxers and a fucking knife. If I can kill him like that, that's fair. That's fair. You know what I mean? It's different than if it's a deer or a cow or anything like that. Those are prey animals who are, unfortunately, that's their lot in life. They're meant to be eaten. But yeah, just shooting a fucking lion from 200 yards away with a high-powered rifle and being like, I'm so tough. Like, fuck you. That's stupid.
I used to know this rich old lady who was very weird, but she used to do sports hunting, and I remember I was talking to her, and she has this, like, I thought it was a mother of pearl necklace, and she was actually told me that she's like, I was like, oh, that's a really cool necklace. Is it mother of pearl? Like, it was just like this, like, white material, like, embedded in gold. And she's like, no, these are actually the claws of, like, insert some freaking
endangered cat
in Africa. She went to Africa, shot it, and she's like 90 pounds wet, this 7-year-old lady. She's like, yeah, I did this a couple years ago. I went to, the Congo on this expedition, and we long range shot it, and then we had its claws turn into this beautiful gold necklace. And I'm like,
that's my grandmother-in-law. Yeah. That's her 100%. She weighs probably 75 pounds soaking wet. Was married to a hunter. They made a bunch of money in real estate or whatever they were doing, and blah blah blah. I don't back that kind of stuff. I don't like just shooting stuff. And there was a here we go. Big Low says African big game hunting is usually done with the help from the local tribes, and sometimes it's problematic animals, and the meat from it will go to those tribes. That's fine, and I totally get that there are tribes that will get meat because of it and blah blah blah, and there's some help for the local populations and stuff like that. I totally get it 100%. But like, there's other ways to do that. You don't have to fucking shoot a lion to get a mount in your living room and be like, well, I fed a tribe. Like, there's other ways to do it. You know what I mean? I get that it's helpful, but that does not fix any kind of problem.
It's also a tourism industry, so I don't know how much of that is actually true versus expected.
You know what I think would be awesome? Load up a high-powered rifle with a powder dart. So you see a lion working on a corpse or whatever the case is, you have to stalk up next to it to shoot it, and you shoot it, and it leaves a little dye mark where you should have hit him, in between the ribs on the heart section or whatever. Now, that animal is tattooed forever. It's been shot. That dye, make it permanent. So that dye is on his rib cage. You can see when he's been shot. You got to take the shot on the lion to say, like, oh, I nailed him right in the ribs. Like, look at where the dye mark is. That lion doesn't die, and he gets scared as shit of humans, because every time he sees one 5 miles away, he's like, dude, fuck those guys. I don't want to be anywhere near those humans. Every time I see him, I get a new tattoo and my ribs hurt for 3 days. Mm-hmm. I think that sounds like so much more fun. And then go shoot a kudu and cook the kudu. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, by the way, I have come to terms with normal prey hunting. Like, I don't have a problem with, like, if someone goes and hunts deer. I would actually be cool with, like, I don't know if you know this. Have I brought this up at all on the show? I became a normal person eating meat about January. No, lies. November, December. So
that's the best part. If the lion turns around and tries to kill you, well, stupid. Maybe you shouldn't have been on the savannah trying to shoot giant cats that could fucking eat you. That's the fun, right?
It's kind of like people who have got so, like, their lives are so empty, probably because they're so rich, but that, like, they go and climb, like, Mount Everest and then die trying to do it. Like, dude, just, I don't know, have a kid or help out with some volunteer work if you're that bored with your life. But
that's what I'm saying. So that's the problem with a lot of these, like, super richies. Mm-hmm. They donate a shitload of money anonymously or with their name or whatever the case may be, and then they do it as a tax write-off. They're not actually doing it to help people. It's a great tax write-off. You can dump a shitload of money into charities, and guess what? I get a tax write-off. Good for you. That's fine. They're searching for fulfillment in these things that they think are going to make them happy. And when everyone says money's the root of all evil and this is why you're not happy, it's because they keep trying to buy shit that they think is going to make them happy instead of searching for the one thing in life that will make you happy, which is making other people happy, helping people. It's the best feeling, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
Or
really is.
having a kid and having purpose through that, you know.
Having a kid is nuts. I tried to tell
same.
my wife, I was like, dude, your life's over when you have a kid. She's like, no, it's not. It's just beginning. I'm like, it is. Your second life. Your first life is over. It's gone. Your first life is done.
Yeah, and but at the same time, you get so much more out of life. I've heard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not a parent, but my siblings look exhausted, and I'm like, man, do you regret having 3 kids? And do you miss having, I don't know, time to do stuff like shower? And they're like, no, I'm just, I'm exhausted. I don't sleep. The house is a disaster, but I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life.
100%. Yeah. There's a, so like as we're young humans, really quick, I want to hit this really quick. I can see mountain lion hunting being necessary. 100%. So there are, because we're humans and we expand to places that we probably shouldn't go most of the time and blah, blah, blah. We move into people's territories and flatten land and grow shit and stuff like that. Unfortunately, there are absolutely cases where you got to shoot a cat. Sometimes you have to shoot a cat. Sometimes you got to shoot wolves. Sometimes your dog has to take care of it, which is a horrible thing. I hate seeing a dog have to go through a fight, but some of them live for that shit. They love it. Like they're bred for that and they've wanted to do it their entire life. So yeah, that's just kind of a necessity thing for sure. So I don't have any problem with necessity. I don't even have a problem with, like I said, going out and shooting deer or shooting a kudu, shooting an elk. If you draw tags and you're giving money to the conservation programs that are helping preserve, the nature and the wild that is this beautiful fucking country, because we have so much land here. We're so lucky as Americans. Yeah, keep it up. 100%. I'm not an idiot. Like, stuff kills stuff in the wild, and we're the apex of it. I just don't think we should do it for shits and giggles and Instagram posts. If that's what I'm getting at. But anyway, where was I headed? I was going to say something about little babies. So we grow up our entire life having relationships with strangers. We have our parents and we love our parents unconditionally. Obviously, most of the time we love our parents unconditionally. But when you have a kid and that thing grows up a little bit, it's a love that it's indescribable. It's infallible. It's unchangeable. It is the most concrete love in the world because there's no changing it. Your kid can't cheat on you. Your kid can't leave and destroy you, at least when they're little kids, you know what I mean? So it is
they can do stuff though.
When they're little babies, man, it's this ironclad love that is unbreakable, and it's just a whole different feeling. You know what I mean? It can't be affected by social factors. Nothing can change it. You're just crazy about this little thing. That's where I'm at with my daughter. It's
it's a beautiful thing.
I'm trying to find that other article because we got so off track. Oh my God, really quick, because this isn't on the roster for today. Did you hear about RFK?
What about him?
Dude, so it's so weird. These the news stations prop somebody up. They're like, this guy's great. We love him. He's awesome. You should be a fan of Robert F. Kennedy. And then he joins up with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, by the way, he cut off a whale's head with a chainsaw when he was in his in his team.
Is that true?
Yes. Dude, I saw it and I thought it was a fucking joke. I thought it was the Babylon Bee or something like that. But sure as schnitzel, I type it into Google and there's RFK. He's like, when I was 16 years old, I took a chainsaw to a blue whale's head on the beach. I'm like, what?
I literally, okay. This is how much it's getting pushed by the algorithm. I went to Google just now, and I know before anyone says, yeah, you should be using DuckDuckGo and all that, but I purposely went to Google to see how fast it would pop up. I literally just wrote RFK, and what popped up was RFK Jr. whale, RFK Jr. whale head, RFK Jr. whale head spelled wrong. Shocking. Or not shocking, I should say.
Yeah, it was dead. I don't think he jumped into the ocean with a carbureted engine. Yeah, no, the whale was dead. Yeah.
They're investigating him over this.
They're investigating it. He literally cut a. That's what I was talking about in the beginning, where like Wild World, Clown World. Apparently, he took a chainsaw and cut a whale's head off when he was a teenager, or something. Where was this before?
Yeah. NOAA. NOAA. It's a federal investigation.
That's not the only RFK story. There's another one about him putting a dead bear in a park. I thought I had a fucking wild childhood, but cutting a whale's head off with a chainsaw is nuts.
Well, you're Kennedy. You can literally do whatever the hell you want, right?
But, dude, that's wild for anyone, right? That's wild for anyone.
This is 20 years ago. He said, right after and he's linking it himself to President Trump endorsement. He says, right after I endorsed President Trump, I received a letter from the National Marine Fisheries Institute saying they were investigating me for collecting a whale specimen 20 years ago. That's wild.
So, if anybody's confused or not paying attention, dude had nothing on his record, was clean as all get out. The second he's like, hey, I'm with Trump, NOAA comes after him?
Mm-hmm. And by the way...
How many people did they have to call to dig that up?
This is from an article from 2012. So it's not like he just said it and they were like, oh, we're going to investigate you. A 2012 article, his daughter told Town & Country magazine that RFK Jr. cut the head off of a whale that washed up ashore in Massachusetts when she was a child. So it's not like it was, he went and like killed it. I don't know why I don't understand why he would do this, but apparently, I don't know if it was dead, but it was washed up.
If it's on the beach, it's dead.
So yeah, so he cut the head off of a whale that was on the beach, and maybe he had it mounted. Maybe he's one of those people who mount stuff.
He's got like a blue whale in his...
But apparently, it's illegal. NOAA is saying it is illegal to possess any part of an animal, dead or alive, under the Marine Mammal Protection Act and Endangered Species Act, and that NOAA, that's why they're investigating.
Yeah, but now?
Exactly.
Just now?
From 2012. They just, how many years has it been? They took their time.
Well, the article was 2012. When did he do it? That's my question.
Over 20 years ago.
He was telling his daughter about it. Yeah, that's insane, dude.
When she was a kid, and she's older now. So over 20 years ago. That's nuts. Isn't there
Can you hold down the fort for a couple of seconds?
Yeah, absolutely. There's got to be a statute of limitation on that for sure. But that is hella suspicious. He said, in my heart, I no longer believe that I have realistic path to electoral victory. That's when he gave up and endorsed it. I cannot, in good conscience, ask my staff and volunteers to keep working their long hours. And then that's when he did his endorsement. He says that that was the timeline. Right after that he started getting hit up about that investigation by the NOAA and the fisheries. That's nuts. But not at all surprised. As we all know, that is the common pattern that we've seen with our political systems, that they go after their adversaries in kind of a sus manner that is not very ethical. Star Wars Dog in the chat says weaponized judic system. Justice system? Make you buy ammo? That would be a hell of a wall for a head to fit on. I don't know how big a blue whale is. Let's go look that up. Size of blue whale. Also, I don't know if if it's illegal, if a taxidermist would do that. According to the internet, it's about 18 feet on average. That would be a hell of a mount that would be required of that. That's wild. But yeah, this was news about 3 days ago.
What happened?
No, same thing. I was just looking more into it. And we were looking at Star Wars Dog said that'd be quite a large thing to mount. Hell of a wall.
Can you
for the head
imagine?
to-
Did they say what kind of whale it was?
It said a blue whale.
It was a blue whale. Those things are massive, dude.
18 feet.
Oh, it's not that big for a blue whale.
Well, that's an average that I just looked up.
Yeah. What happened? Did you not hear the story? So it's so funny. We were just talking about, hi Jay, by the way. We were talking about how it's odd anytime anyone says they're for Donald Trump, how stuff just appears out of nowhere. So the National Oceanographic Association, or National Ocean, what is it? The NOAA?
National Oceanographic, you know what? I
Association or something like that.
Yeah.
Pulled up something about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. cutting a whale's head off with a chainsaw like 20 plus years ago. And
Okay.
it's wild.
This article that I pulled up from the Daily Beast actually has more description of
Where
it.
did he get a chainsaw?
So, the daughter says that the father decapitated the dead animal that washed up on the beach and drove 5 hours across state lines with it fixed to the roof of their car.
What?
This is
What?
nuts.
What? The dude just had a whale head on his car.
So they're probably going to hit him with, like, how many states, what states, because he's breaking all kinds of laws. And they're also pulling out a law from the 1900s, the Lacey Act, a 1900s law that outlaws the transportation of illegally gathered wildlife across state lines. So they're going to hit him for the possession of the head. And because she mentioned in the story that he drove with it attached to the car, they're going to hit him with this random freaking law from literally 1900 that's still in the books for driving across state lines with that.
So I get it. It's shady. They're trying to take RFK down, and they're pulling whatever they can to try to basically make a defamation suit against RFK. But why did he do it?
He seems a little crazy to me.
That's like, can we go to the origin of the, like, you're walking down the beach and you see a whale and you're like, hey, Jonathan, get my chainsaw. Like, what? What are we doing here? Like, that's not a normal person that does that. That's nuts. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Maverick in the chat says there's more to the story, more graphic details about the story. I'm not going to look them up. I'm already semi-traumatized from just imagining this whale carcass on
Have
top
you
of
ever
a car.
used a chainsaw before?
No.
Okay, it kicks a lot of sawdust when you're doing it, right? Like, it kicks a lot of chainsaw. I have in my mind now this horrifying picture of RFK just, and there's just whale all over the face, and it's like a horror movie, just cutting through. I just don't understand why you would do it. Like, what's the point? And then, not to mention, that whale head it's like 400 or 500 pound whale head. You need your buddies. And what, he like brings it up to a Jeep Grand Cherokee and uses some rope as a tie down and is like, got a whale head, gonna go to my guy because my guy knows how to sail whale heads.
Debbie from Australia thinks it's great. I don't know about that, Debbie.
In Australia, it makes sense. Australia, I'm like, oh yeah, there go the boys with the utes. They've got another blue whale. I don't know. They're going down to Timmy in Bendigo. Timmy knows how to sell those. Like, I don't know.
By the way, the bear story also just recently came out. I just looked
go.
it up.
Let's go.
RFK Jr. admits to dumping a dead bear. You know what? Let's just send you that. Here you go. I'm sending it to you.
I just don't know what to do with this.
He also needs to lay off the tanning. He looks like a piece of beef jerky.
With 2 blueberries in the middle of his face.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Here's another one. Man, okay. RFK admits to dumping a dead bear in Central Park?
Solving a decades-old mystery? Seriously?
A decade after the shocking discovery of a bear cub carcass in Manhattan Central Park, the mystery of who dumped it there has finally been solved. And the man taking responsibility is none other than presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The conspiracy theorist turned third-party candidate's campaign has weathered a series of increasingly improbable-sounding scandals. That's putting it lightly.
Mm-hmm.
Improbable-sounding scandals in recent months, from Kennedy's admission that a worm ate part of his brain to his denial of reports that he once ate a barbecued dog. What? RFK unleashed his latest one himself in a 3-minute video posted to X. Shows him sitting at a kitchen table telling an incredulous-looking Roseanne Barr about how the dead bear ended up in his van upstate and ultimately on top of a bicycle beneath a bush in New York City's largest urban park. So I'll go ahead and read this. So I pulled over and picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Because I was going to skin the bear, he explains matter-of-factly. It was in very good condition, and I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. Kennedy added it was legal in New York State to get a bear tag to take home a roadkill bear.
It was
such a
roadkill.
tag.
Ugh.
There's no way that was roadkill. No shot. Such a tag must be written up by law enforcement. The bear never made it back to his Westchester home. However, Kennedy says he got waylaid on a busy day of falcon. What is happening?
This guy is so weird. Oh, I was going to take this dead bear that I just happened to find home, so I threw it in my van. But then, I got really caught up with falconry. Because, that happens to everybody, right?
I was waylaid by falconry. And had to rush back to New York City for a dinner, which ran late. So I just dumped it in Central Park. Dude, I have to talk to you about RFK later. This guy's a fucking nut job.
I don't know if I really want him in our administration if Trump wins at this point.
Hey, look, if he's going to be the one to take down the 3-letter agencies, I'm fine with it. But wow, I got waylaid by falconry. Not like, hey, the lady at Subway took way too long making my sandwich. He's like, no, my falcon took too long to come back. Like, what?
I'm telling you, it's growing up Kennedy. Like, you're not normal. There's no way you're normal as a Kennedy. You
That's
have a weird life.
insane to me.
And then he said, because I got a little bit of redneck in me. That's not a little bit of redneck. That's not. Sorry.
Bro, I'm a redneck. That's more than a bit of redneck. That's like... Get after it. I don't know, dude. That is wild to me. Just wild. What do you think? You want to kill a bear and throw it in Central Park? I don't know.
And then he brings up alcohol. Like, this is not a good story to add that sentence. I wasn't drinking, but people were with me who were drinking and thought this was a good idea. And I said, and did that. And we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something. This guy.
Thought it'd be amusing?
Yeah.
Any dude who's ever been with his boys drinking knows that that's bullshit. He was drinking. 100%.
Oh, yeah. I was with my boys. They were drinking. I wasn't. But we all thought it would be funny if we just put this dead bear in a bush in Central Park, and it's gonna be funny. It's like, no, you were drunk, dude.
It was a cub. The 6-month-old 44-pound cub. That's what breaks my heart. Made national news after a dog walker stumbled upon it one fateful October morning. Wide open part of the park right near the path where thousands of people run and bike each day. Oh, this is weird. This is weird. Law enforcement took the bear to Albany for analysis and determined it had been hit by a car, likely outside the park. They also confiscated the bicycle to test for fingerprints. Check this out. I was worried because my prints were all over that bike, Kennedy says in the video, drawing laughs from the room.
That's crazy.
These people are nuts, bro.
And then whoa. The brainworm thing, he actually says it to that magazine, the New Yorker. it was in the same article. Posing with, he was a picture of him posing with his hands inside a bear's bloody mouth and exaggerated grimace on his face, and he says, maybe that's where I got my brain worm from. Yeah, this RFK Jr.
Don't trust politicians, whatever you do. I know a lot of us blindly are like, yeah, that's our warrior up in the front. Like, these are crazy people. They're nuts. Imagine what didn't make it on the news cycle.
Imagine what he does that's even more illegal. Like, this is all illegal stuff that they're talking about. Like, yeah, so, you know, I was worried about my fingerprints. Like, there's got to be even worse.
Dude, there's something
crazy
so
stories.
much worse there. So much worse.
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk about it, but I mean, like the Pizzagate stuff and PDF files and all of the if they're willing to do that to an innocent animal, imagine what they're willing. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's gross.
Yeah.
Do we have any kind of upbeat something to take us out of that? Anything?
We've got politics. Well, I mean, this is politics, but we've got potential things we could talk about. One Piece, I've never really been into One Piece, but for those who are interested, the season 2 trailer, I guess, dropped.
I want to watch it.
Okay, so let me...
Yeah, I never watched the anime. I've never been an anime guy. Don't watch anime. Never really was a thing for me. Admittedly, I was the one getting bullied, but I made fun of the anime kids when there was a hierarchy of nerds. Yeah.
Well, there was an era where some of this geek culture wasn't like considered cool like it is now. Like, people didn't go to cons back in the 90s, and
well, they had cons.
No, and were considered cool. It's not like now where everybody goes to cons. Yeah. That's an X one, but I can pull it up on YouTube as well.
I got it here. Okay, so this is the One Piece season 2 trailer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a look. I really enjoyed season 1. Like I said, I'm not an anime guy, but I thought it was a fun adaptation. I could be totally wrong. There's probably anime people out there that are like, it was trash. It's so bad.
This one actually received pretty good acclaim.
Okay.
It wasn't hated as much as some of the other pieces of garbage.
All right. So let's check out season 2.
Oh, hi. My name is Jeff Ward. And I'm here to show you around all of the departments, the new sets, and new locations of One Piece Season 2. Come on.
I'm here with Carrie Barnard. She's the costume designer, and of all this is her.
Warehouse.
How long?
Not just me, my team too.
How many people's wardrobe would you say is in here?
At least 1,000.
1,000 people?
At least. These are some of our costumes that we've been working on for this season.
Wait, we're not allowed to see any of this. Come on.
I'm just gonna run away.
So I think people are going to be really excited to see all of the different looks beyond just the classic ones that they wear.
Hold on. Let's go back a second, because I want to look at these costumes compared to like Rings of Power, compared to the Acolyte. Look how lived in these costumes look. Comparatively,
yeah, I think
it's
that was
ridiculous.
One of my biggest issues with the costumes in the Acolyte, like the robes all look the same, and they all had like perfectly brand new belts on them. They just look fake, like they were all cosplay versus like
Spirit Halloween.
Yeah, Spirit Halloween truly look like that. And I couldn't pinpoint it until like the second or third episode exactly why their outfits all bothered me, until I realized all of them had that perfectly unblemished leather and just didn't look.
Verisimilitude, man.
Yeah.
Verisimilitude.
See all of the
These look great.
Different looks beyond just the classic ones that they wear.
Even the villains that are wearing the same costumes, they're probably pretty cool still, too.
Wait, hold on. I'm good friends with Jeff Ward. Who's Jeff Ward? Is that the clown?
The clown, yeah. The guy who started out the whole thing by saying, "Hi, my name is Jeff Wards."
I wasn't paying attention. He's awesome, dude. He did such a good job with that clown. He seems like a perfect kind of insane.
You can't mess with perfection.
Meet one of my favorite people on One Piece, Miss Amanda Ross McDonald. Amanda and her department are the reason that Buggy and everybody looks amazing. This is all kinds of cool stuff that I'm sure none of it you can see right now. Spoilers.
Oh, I have that poster.
Star Wars. Here we are in the props department with Ekbard Kruger.
I know. Isn't it disgusting? Every time he comes in, he's like, hey, I'm friends with that guy. Just in case you didn't know, I'm friends with him.
Our props master. Very cool, Tram. Do you take this to work now?
Oh, I own this vehicle. It's registered and everything.
A few of the very exciting second season props.
Wow.
Oh,
you have the big one around?
I don't know. It
looks like a giant
This is sniper goggles, pretty true to the manga. And these are all based off Oda's drawings, very specific to One Piece.
For those at home wondering, this stuff is very fragile. Don't mess around with it.
Don't even look at it.
I am here with Tom Hannum, who is the incredible production designer on One Piece. Mac.
They sound South African. Are they South African? Or is that New Zealand?
I have no idea.
I
But
think
I do
it's
love
South African.
I do love the fact that they had the source material right there where they were creating the props and they were making a point of saying we want to be as close to the source material as possible.
Yeah.
That's refreshing.
It is very refreshing.
Scott Lieb, the other production designer on One Piece. In a crazy arms store. Is that where we are?
Yep, where Zoro enters to resupply and stock up. The 3 shops next to the arms store are exactly from the manga.
I love that they showed the actual image from the manga and then they actually
and then right next to it was the prop. These are people that care about the source material.
Jesus.
We're in the interior lighthouse, and it fits the character Crocus. The interesting thing is the Drum Kingdom is eternal winter. Doing winter here is quite a challenge because
there's no snow here?
There's no snow.
I think that was a pretty amazing tour and inside look at One Piece Season 2. Now I'll see you all in 20... I can't say the year. We'll just give it a... All right, well, I didn't know. Just bleep it then. Well, don't yell at me.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm definitely gonna watch that.
I'm in for it, man. It just seems like that is one out of, the multitude of products that are out there that are, graping IPs right now. It seems like one that is actually trying. And the bottom line is I don't know anything about One Piece. I don't know anything about the manga. I don't know anything about, the story and stuff like that. But you can feel it in the production that they are trying to do the best they can to bring a real live adaptation of what it was, which is, I don't envy them at all. How do you take like a Japanese anime and turn it into a live action show? It's tough.
Yeah.
But it's just fun. It's fun. And there's stuff in that show that like on any other given Sunday, I would be like, this is so cringy. It's so weird. You get the guy with the giant sword and then one guy with a tiny sword. And you're like, this is weird. I don't like it. But it works. I don't know. They've done a really good job of bringing me into it. I actually bought a One Piece video game. And I played the entirety of a One Piece video game. So I was Luffy, going around this island and finishing quests, and I had the gum punch and all this different kind of stuff that I would usually like cringe super hard at, but they brought me into it. And if you can bring this guy into an anime, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
By the way, do you know who Mr. Zero is, the character? I have no idea who that is. This is one of the few animes that are popular I don't watch, but Joe Manganiello is cast, so that was the other big news from One Piece.
Let me
which
Google
we all know
what he
him
looks
from
like.
Magic Mike.
Mr. Zero.
Oh, that guy. I thought you meant Joe Manganiello. I'm like, hello, he's from Magic Mike.
Mr. Zero is like okay, he's like a big boss guy. He's got a cigar and blah blah
Big
blah.
jacked. Is he
Yeah, and they don't shy away from what the archetypes of what the characters should be. That's another thing that I like is they cast him as like the characters should be. You know what I mean? They don't change much.
We're not going to reimagine it. We're not going to do a modern day interpretation of it like Rachel Zegler and
Yeah. Yeah, you could hear it. South African.
South African.
Yeah, I thought they were South African. Well, that's awesome. I'm excited for that. There was another trailer we had to watch too, right? We've done this whole stream and haven't talked about Agatha yet.
Oh my gosh.
So, talking about going to the other side of the spectrum. Let's go to the other side of the spectrum.
I don't even know where my Agatha thing is. Oh no. Okay, I'll find it. So basically we covered this. Here it is. I found it. I just have so many articles. We covered this was it last week or 2 weeks ago when we put on our wigs and talked about Agatha?
I don't know that we ever put on our wigs.
Yes. What are
you put
about?
on your wig.
You had a wig on. Don't even
I put a wig on?
Yes, you did. And we had our little septum rings in.
Oh, that's right. I was like, no,
it's
about witches and getting their brooms, but brooms are phallic. I remember.
Well, here's a video from Variety. They did a red carpet. So, by the way, Agatha premieres tonight, I believe. Is it tonight or tomorrow? I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I have to watch it. I'm going on Saucy Saturdays this weekend, and I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it.
Wait, I put in the chat the Variety story from Twitter.
Sashir Zamara.
Yeah, that she actually she's the one that talks about witches being queer, which is very similar to the Acolyte.
It's a 1-for-1. All right.
It's been described to me that Agatha is the gayest Project Marvel.
Is this guy gay? Because he sounds gay.
It's a carbon copy of the Acolyte.
Uh-huh.
Media campaign.
Uh-huh.
It's been described to me that Agatha is the gayest Project Marvel has ever done. Agree?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Why is it?
You'll see. You'll see when you watch it. But, you know, I think...
What's on the head?
I think that she's got...
Is that Cyberlink?
It's definitely not Cyberlink. Neuralink. It's not Neuralink.
Neuralink, that's what I meant. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's just some jewelry to make her look queer.
All right.
It's been described to me
this out here, kid.
that Agatha is the gayest Project Marvel has ever done. Agree?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Why is it?
You'll see. You'll see when you watch it. But, you know, I think witches are queer inherently just because we are outcast and, like, set aside for many reasons. And I think this show shows a really good representation of different types of people and that we can all use the power we have within to, like, go forth and be great.
It's been just...
Okay, first of all, witches are not inherently queer. Like, that is not the definition of queer. Queer is a weird definition that they've recently come up with. It used to mean gay. Now it just means whatever you want it to be. Gender fluid. Sometimes I feel like a man. Sometimes I feel like a woman. Different. So now queer is being defined as different. Outcast. And that's somehow
that's what
positive.
I was going to say. I would take it even further than that. Now it's like people don't like me. I'm queer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, people just don't like you. It has nothing to do with your sexuality. We just don't like you. You have not been accepted by society. So the weird part for me is that this has become so mainstream that every aspect of storytelling has to be somehow tied into sexual preference.
Yeah.
Why?
I think somebody in the marketing world decided that this is the way to go, or maybe they just want to be trendy. And remember, these people are all in Hollywood, and
Right.
they have a weird, distorted view of reality because they are just basically living in that that whatever that
La La
little
Land.
tiny.
They made a movie about it. Yeah, La La Land.
So they think this is normal. Like they think everyone goes around trying to be queer. You know, like it's like
Right.
oh, you know,
It's trendy. So trendy.
I'm just queer. I just feel queer today. That's how I feel. So I think that that's what they think is on trends, popular. You know what they should be striving for. In fact, I just dropped another article. The other actress, Aubrey Plaza, who
She was the only funny one out of that group, by the way.
was she?
She was. There was who else was funny out of that group?
I guess
Well, I guess in Step Brothers, I really like that. Who's the main chick? Agatha. She did a couple funny things.
Well, she goes on record, and this was also news about her reaction to the gay comments. If you want to tap on that last link I sent you.
I don't want to.
You don't want to. It's like,
we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
So
okay,
basically,
so Aubrey Plaza says Agatha All Along better be the gay show. Okay, all right.
so
So
she said that's what she signed up for. And
the actress told Variety the upcoming Disney WandaVision spinoff series is definitely the most LGHD TV 4Q plus IQA friendly installment of the MCU. It better be, because that's what I signed up for, Plaza said, adding, it will be a gay explosion by the end of it. What?
What is the rating on this show? Is this a kid show?
It will be a gay explosion. But what the fuck is this? I don't understand. The ensemble of the spooky series agreed. Ollie On told the outlet that Agatha All Along is the gayest show on Marvel.
Okay, so it's 13 plus as the rating on this.
Good, yeah. I would want my 13-year-old daughter to be... If I walked up to my 13-year-old daughter and said, hey, do you know what I am? She goes, what? What are you talking about? And I said, I'm a heterosexual. I like to have sex with females. And she's like, what? Daddy, what are you talking about? And I'm like, yeah, that's my sexuality. I want to bang girls. It's like, it's gross. It's disgusting. What is happening?
It's just the constant need to talk about their private life.
You have nothing going for you for personality, for anything that could be interesting to anyone. And so the only personality trait you can put forward is what you like to have sex with. Let's boil it down. The bottom line is that's what this is. Your personality trait is what you prefer to have sex with. That's what they're telling us. And then they're saying, oh, well, no, it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing. That culture was created because that's the only personality trait you have. And you've built a culture around that. Ah!
Listen to this other actor, Joe Locke. I don't know who that is. I guess his character is called Teen. He's basically going to be Wanda Maximoff with Scarlet Witch's multiverse son. So he said, the show's got many layers and gay is one of them. That's one of the great things about the show. Teen, my character, is a queer guy on the show, but it's not the driving force, which I think is really great. It's just really nice to have these positive queer characters.
You know, I'm friends with a lot of gay people, believe it or not, whether or not you know it. My brother was part of the San Francisco Irish piping band, the bagpiping band in San Francisco. A lot of gay people in San Francisco. I don't know if you know that. Mm-hmm. They were all great dudes, great guys, great personalities. You would never know Sunday to Monday that they were gay. You would have no idea, no no inkling of the fact. Because they don't walk around as if that's their own, their only personality trait. Yeah, I just don't understand this vapid response to having, your only personality trait is that you're gay. I just don't get it. And I'm super accepting as a person. Hopefully I've conveyed that to some degree. I really don't care what you do. I just want you to be a good person. That's it. It's not my job to judge. When it comes to the end days and whatever happens, blah, 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 you're going to sort that out with whoever, figure it out when you get there.
So here's the thing that's interesting that someone in that article also says that one of the great things is how it's normalizing queerdom. And I think that a few years ago, before it all turned into this gay explosion that we're experiencing now, it was normal. Like, no one really talked about it. It was just you had gay friends and no one made a big deal about it anymore. Like,
because it wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't a big
for most
deal.
people. Yeah.
But now we're all just needing to literally write it on the walls and make it a topic for every single conversation. And I think that's actually harming things. I don't think you're moving towards normalization. I think you're moving towards making it unacceptable to some people or upsetting some people because you're trying to force it down people's throats when we were just fine with it being in our lives. No problem. I have, not to be that person who goes, I've got one black friend, but, I've had tons of gay people as my friends or people I work with. I don't care. I don't have an issue with it. It's completely normal. It doesn't come up with conversations. It's just, it is what it is. It's part of their life. And it doesn't, every conversation doesn't start with, well, I'm queer.
But that's not the conversation. That's the problem, is that that's what happens. They're like, we're gay. And I'm like, cool. All right. And like move on. And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why are you oppressing me? And it's like, no, I don't care. You're gay. And they're like, well, here's the problem that you don't understand. Your microaggression and telling me that you're okay with it is the real problem. And it's like this constant need for conflict. It's a constant need for conflict. That's what drives me nuts. I don't like anybody. If you go to a bar, you're hanging out with your friends, a guy walks up and he's like, hey, what's up? My name's Chad. Hi, Chad. My name's, X-Wing. I said my name. Doesn't matter. And then that guy goes, whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean, hi, nice to meet you? What's your problem, bro? It's like, just saying hi, just hanging out. Well, didn't you hear my name's Chad? Yes, we heard that your name's Chad. But do you know what Chad means? And it's like, dude, no one gives a fuck. Like, go get a beer. Shut up. Chill out. Stop. Well, did you know that Chad was in Lord of the Rings in the Second Age? And Chad should be represented in the second ring. Like, stop. I don't know. It drives me nuts, dude. It drives me nuts. You're not important. That's what I want to say to you. You're not important. I know that you think you're different and you're cool and all these different things. You're not important. Nobody gives a shit about you. Nobody gives a shit about me. It's not important. Nobody thinks you're cool. Nobody thinks I'm cool. No one gives a shit. Stop. You're not going to be relevant just because of a sexual preference. Just stop. No one cares. Get a job. Raise a family. Find a nice husband. Go to the country. Grow great tomatoes. I'll go buy those tomatoes. Just stop. And but also make some nice fresh mozzarella. You know what I mean? Oh, that was a different show.
By the way, your mic's cutting out a little bit.
Is it? I'm yelling.
That's probably why.
I'm angry.
You went very Italian. Are you Italian background? When you
Beardo and I were talking about how annoying it is when somebody there was a gal who was on OnlyFans and then just converted to Islam. Mm-hmm. And she's like, hi, my name is, whatever. My name's Trisha, and I just want to say, Allahu Akbar. And while I'm at it, I just want to say, Inshallah Allahu Afin. She just like gets the hardcore Middle Eastern accent when she's talking about her religion. And the thing that I was making fun of is like American Italians when they talk about the food, and it drives me nuts.
There's a Food Network TV cook. She's a brunette. I always mispronounce her name. I call her Giardia, and Giardia is actually a parasite, by the way, if you don't know.
It is. Yeah, 100%. You're talking about oh my gosh, that's gonna kill me. I know exactly who you're talking about.
de Laurentiis.
Yeah. Tutti a tavola a mangiare.
Yeah, that one. So she's one of them. Yeah. She's like, today I'm
No, that was Lydia Bastianich. I take that back. I'm sorry. Giatti. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
She looks like a pioneer woman. She's got the kind of short hair, sharp face.
I mean, a really big smile.
Yeah.
So she, I used to love watching Food Network and, random food cooking shows. And I would watch her for the sheer comedy of her going, normal speech, mozzarella. And then we're going to throw the prosciutto into it. And then we're going to saute that. And then we're going to, put some more mozzarella.
It drives me up a wall. You have somebody speaking normal English and they're like, yeah, so we're going to go to the corner market and get some mozzarella. And it's like, there's an A on the end of that, by the way. And they're like, by the way, we're going to get some prosciutto. It's like, stop. Okay? You're not from Sicily. You're not from Italy. Your grandpa might have been whatever, but even he didn't say it that stupid. Just stop.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker. Well, raised in New York until I was a teenager and then moved. But
I lived in New York for some time.
Yeah, you know how it is.
I know how it is. They get it.
Italians, they don't even say Italians. The Italians from New York, they're more Italian than the Italians from the boot.
They think they are.
Yes.
They think they are, and it's wild because I've been to Italy. I've been all up and down Italy. Nobody talks like that. It's a subculture of it's an American Italian, which is a whole different thing than an Italian. And they love to do that. And if you're from those small boroughs somewhere in New York where that's how your grandma talked and your father talked and now you talk, that's completely fine. Just don't be the person who acts like it. You know what I mean? I've been in cowboy culture for forever. You're never gonna hear me go, and then he got up on the saddle and he put his foot in the stirrups and then got the bridle on him. It's just stupid. Anyways,
well,
I'm rambling.
As a Hispanic woman, I agree. I don't switch into a Hispanic accent. Speaking of, this is a nice non sequitur. Actually, the opposite of non sequitur.
Non sequitur.
Whatever.
A very sequitur.
Here's a sequitur. Have you seen this video? Speaking of people with accents.
Oh boy, what do we got? What this time? Don't get me taken down. What do you got?
No.
Oh my gob.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I can't get over her in her J-Lo.
Let's have a listen. Have a listen.
I love you back.
I love you back. Oh, I love you
back.
She reminds me of me when I'm on my YouTube streams. I do stuff for fun. You know what I mean? Like my inner monologue is a Jason Statham hardcore. Today I'm going to go on stream and we're going to get what we need to get done. You understand? My name is Jason Statham. Jason Statham. That doesn't mean I show up and I'm like, hello, my name's X-Wing. Welcome to the stream.
Certainly not when you're on a national platform and running for president, for sure.
My favorite one is when they put Robert Downey Jr. next to her and they're talking about cooking traditional Southern cuisine. Have you seen that?
No, I mean, I've seen the one where she's talking about making collard greens, and that's
yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
Is that the one?
Yes.
Oh, I had so many collard greens. We were washing them in the freaking tub. No one washes their collard greens in the tub.
It was insane for me to watch. I'm like, somebody's buying this. Someone is buying this.
But she was throwing all the right things. She's like, and then I wrapped it in bacon, and the lady's like, girl, yeah, go for it. Bacon, you black for sure. You Southern black, you using bacon. It's like, come on.
What are you doing, sweetie? I don't know. I just, again, this is one of those things. I don't like fake people. I'm unliked by many just because I'm the person I am, unfortunately. And I'm okay with that.
I was waiting for her to drop a mira pero listen. You know, like, come on.
Oh my God. Linda, listen.
Oh my God, you've watched that video with the Listen Linda. Listen,
yeah,
the little kid.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that video.
She's going to go to like Southern California at some point and put a speech on. She's like, mi abuela, she makes the best pastor. I mean, it's the best pastor you ever had in your life. And I'm like, Kamala, what are we doing?
The tamales.
Did you fall out of a coconut tree? Or are you on a rancho? Like, figure it out. I don't know. She's anyone who does that it's just it smells. It smells. You know what I mean? But don't be surprised if she's in LA 3 weeks from now and she goes, "Ayúdame, I need your ball." It's like that. I don't know. What's going to happen when she goes to Israel?
She's gonna wear a Star of David and convert to Judaism.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Did you fall out of a matzah tree? What are we doing here? You're in trouble, lady. Anyways, I'm getting in trouble. I'm getting a little too
risque.
A little risque. But a fun stream as always. Did we have anything else we had to hit before we go?
I mean, there's always topics, but no, we're good.
Yeah.
I'm
I
good.
think we're good. Bringing her to New Zealand. Can you imagine? She's like, hey, kia ora, bro. That,
I mean,
the
she's a
coconut tree
chameleon.
might have worked there. Yeah.
She's a chameleon. I think
She's a
that she can
chameleon.
adapt to any culture and
She's
and
gonna
become
say
one.
she's gonna say whatever she has to do to secure your vote.
Mhm.
That's the bottom line. I have to. There's a part of me that kind of feels like, hey, bro, I feel the same way, but it's out of like love and respect for these cultures. Like I want to learn. I actually went on Google and I started a class on how to speak Maori because I got these great people. There's like 3 or 4 people in my chats who are all from New Zealand, and so I started learning Maori, and I couldn't say it now, but like I'm trying to learn it. It's cool, but
You know
this
what the
is like
coolest part of
this
that
is fake. What?
Have you seen those dances that they do like in New
Haka?
Zealand? Yeah, those things are so cool. Like the rugby teams that have the haka.
Yeah, the all
showdowns.
black.
Yeah, that's freaking cool.
Those are super cool. Yeah, I would not want to be the dude that was on the other end of that when that stuff was going on. 100%, because they had clubs filled with spikes and they beat each other's brains out. And I feel like part of that has kind of lost its not Maori, right? Is that correct? Yeah, they killed the crap out of each other. And I feel like a lot of it's kind of been lost because now they do it in like small government meetings with like a couple chicks and a dude. And I'm like, I don't think that's the right place for it. You know what I mean?
They civilized it. I mean, they literally do it on the pitch, but right peacefully before a
That makes
rugby
sense
game.
for me.
'Cause, yeah, that's
like
more
in
of
a
a
rugby
battle.
game, 100%.
that's
Yeah,
more
oh
of a
yeah,
battle.
yeah, 100%. They're like, we're New Zealand, we're gonna mushroom stamp you on the forehead. That was a little gross, but you know what I mean. That's what it was. That's what it was. All right, everyone. That's what I have for tonight. Stay tuned. I think we're going to do some gaming with Beardo a little later tonight. Joe, I don't know what you're up to, but you're always welcome. Of course.
Are we sailing or are we shooting?
It's going to be Space Marine, if it's
Okay,
anything.
shooting.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. That game has been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it. We did some sailing last night, but that's more of a quiet game that like Jay and I like to play together. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest. I've played it once and I was just like, maybe twice, and I was like, I just felt like I was patching holes a lot.
Yeah, that does happen a lot. Yeah, for sure. We just kind of we take it slow. Jay and I enjoy it because it's a nice, easy, slow game, and we can just talk crap and have fun. There are crazy aspects to it, but you know, we like to keep it easy. I wanted to pull this up really quick. Cat X-Wing not going to show off his presence. I will. I don't think the end of the stream today is a good spot for it, but I do want to give a huge shout out to Cat. Speaking of New Zealand, who sent me just a mess of cool stuff, Star Wars related and otherwise, that I do want to go over. I think I'm going to save that for. I'm going to do just a solo stream coming up here, hopefully early next week, where I get to hang out with you guys and talk, just solo dolo, chat to X-Wing to chat, and have a good time. But this is more of a show, if you will, a show.
I actually have a similar situation. Wiley Dave sent me a box of Star Trek collectibles. Oh, you're like Star Wars now. Star Trek collectibles.
Why didn't he send it to me?
I'm a huge Trekkie, so I literally fangirled out hard, and I'm like,
That's awesome.
I might do a stream just to show this off. Like, this needs a proper
100%. Yeah, Wiley Dave, speaking of who's in the chat, has been one of the most incredibly gracious people that I've ever encountered on YouTube, and has grown my collection considerably. So huge shout out to Wiley Dave. Much love to you, amigo. And I think that's it for Wing Wednesday, episode 4. Joe Rosie, where can we find you?
Y'all can find me on Real Joe Rosie on YouTube. Go give me a sub as I continue towards my new milestone of 1,000. And besides that, I play a
Mods,
tabletop.
drop that link in the chat, by the way, if you could, please.
Also play a tabletop on Geeks and Gamers Tabletop on Sundays at 12.
Nice.
And that's where you can find me.
Absolutely wonderful. The link is in the chat. Joe Rosie, thank you so much for everything today. We've had a lot of fun. We had a smaller stream today, but I enjoyed it a lot. And by the way, great job on the die.
Thank you.
Looks good.
Ready for spooky season with my black hair.
Spooky season is coming. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I appreciate you. Stay tuned. Be aware. Gaming stream coming in soon. Wednesdays are the long days, so I will be here. We'll be partying. We'll be having a good time. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on Wing Wednesday. For my co-host, Joe Rosie, my name is X-Wing, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Hey, even Wookiees need a little love. Have you ever heard a Wookiee's fantasy? You don't want to make her angry. Or do you? Call now at 1-900...
Emotional damage.